What's up guys, Johnathan Buckhouse here, and today I'm going to give you guys an idea of what I think snowboarding in 2020, 2021 is going to be like with COVID. I've been to 6 ski resorts since the pandemic hit, from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, up in Montana, down in Colorado. So I've been basically everywhere, and I've experienced what some places are doing with COVID, what some places are not doing with COVID. And today I want to give you like a rough idea, because no one knows for sure what it's going to be like, but what I think it's going to be like for this season snowboarding with all the COVID rules. Now the first thing you're gonna notice, and it's obvious, is we're gonna have to wear masks. And your ski mask is fine. Some people wear the normal pandemic masks. Wearing a mask is just what you're gonna have to do, whether you're walking into the resorts or going up the chairlift. That's when you mainly have to wear it. Going in any lodging, going up the chairlift, wear your masks. When you're doing a run, I've been able to pull my mask down and be fine. That's been literally from everywhere. Big Snow, I was fine doing that. Timberline in Oregon, I was able to do that. And some places like Beartooth Basin didn't even require me to show up with the mask on. They like literally Beartooth Basin in Montana had no rules. Literally do whatever you want. Another thing that will be mandatory to some places, and not all places, is gloves. Big Snow was mandatory to wear gloves while you were there. So the masks are gonna be simple, especially December, January, when it's really cold, you wanna wear a mask anyways. The reservation thing, this is what everyone's freaking out about. Like, oh my goodness, reservations things. So the stuff that I've had to deal with the reservations, I've been very, very minimal. Really, it was Copper Mountain that was the strictest with the reservation, but you just, a couple days in advance, say this is when I want to come ride, and I didn't have any issues with that. I don't know what Vail Resort System is going to be, and that's what the biggest one everyone's freaking out about, because it's not available yet, and so maybe I'll make a video on that. But the reservation things are just going to be different for each resort. Some were like, make a reservation, like Big Snow was like, make a reservation, but if you buy this certain pack, you don't have to make a reservation. Some, like a Basin, are like, you have to reserve if you're buying a day pass, but you don't have to reserve if you have a season pass. You can show up whenever. So there's gonna be different rules for every single mountain, so just make sure you're checking those websites and seeing if you gotta reserve a spot prior to showing up, because you don't wanna show up and didn't make a reservation, then you're out of luck. With that being said, some resorts will make you take a COVID questionnaire. Timberline made me take one. Basically, they ask you what your symptoms were. Same thing with Copper. You had to be like, have you had diarrhea? Have you had a fever? Have you been coughing, sneezing? Like, and it's like a no. It's like when you apply for a job, that type of questionnaire. So be ready for those. But then the other thing you're gonna have to deal with, and I've only dealt with it at 2 resorts, and that was Big Snow in New Jersey, and then on Copper Mountain here in Colorado, they checked your temperature. So you show up for the day, they scan your forehead, and then they're like, all right, you're good to go. At least that's what was for me every single time I went. So make sure you're not wearing like a beanie when you show up, or anything that's gonna make you have a higher temperature. Like, don't wear all your snowboard gear in the car. That's gonna raise your temperature probably. If you're not sick, obviously I'm not trying to help you beat the system, but be aware that some resorts will make you get your head scanned before you show up in a restaurant. Physically, what you're going to be seeing a difference with, and it was at basically every place I went, they had these like circle things that are like, stay 6 feet apart, they're spaced out 6 feet when you go into the maze about to get on the chairlift, and that's where you're supposed to stay 6 feet apart from everyone. And that doesn't really, like, people don't really listen to that. the same time though, if you're already strapped in your skis and snowboards, that creates a distance in itself. But just know like that was kind of like hard to maintain, is that 6 feet of like distance, whatever. And I would just encourage you, if you really are scared of COVID and you don't want to be like get COVID and you're terrified, I would take the ski season off, because they have these rules, they're doing their best to enforce it, but just know that Bill, who's working the chairlift, is getting paid $12 an hour, and he's not really gonna enforce anything. He's not trying to have some people yell at him, and I don't blame him, he's only making 12 bucks an hour. So just be aware of that when you're going in these mazes, these lift lines. We could see difference. I know a lot of the resorts are gonna lower the amount of people that show up, so maybe there won't be any chairlift lines. Like when I went to Virginia to the Snowflex, literally we were the only people out there, and we had no issues like with keeping social distancing and everything. We were just ripping, and we had the whole place to ourselves, and it was really incredible. The other thing that will back up the lines and make that 6 feet a lot harder is you don't have to ride up the chairlift with anyone that's not in your party. So if you're going skiing or snowboarding by yourself for the day, well, you get your own chairlift every single time. And you know how like Breck has 6-7 pack chairlifts, and they put 6-7 people on no matter what. Well, now there's one person going up a 6 chair, which is going to be really weird to see, but two, it's going to cause a cloggage with the whole chairlift system. Now this might hurt some of the families, but less accommodations, probably no in resort dining or very limited amount. You like those, those lodges on a Saturday that are super packed and everyone's sitting at a table and mom's sitting there all day. That's probably not going to be a thing. I don't truly know how, because people do got to go inside and warm up, so maybe less people can go in and warm up at a time, and maybe they'll have like a time waiting at a table. I don't know for sure, but expect most food places will be outside. Most places you can sit will be outside. Less accommodations. I don't know for rentals and accommodations that way. Once again, that's just based off the location where you're going to travel. So I would say, if you're going to do a family vacation, look outside the box. You don't have to come to Colorado or California on your ski trip. Check out Montana or Oregon. Plenty of places that have good skiing and snowboarding, but aren't going to be as strict with the rules, and that might help you be able to get better accommodation, not have to do reservations, things like that. Another thing you'll see is probably less scanning at A Basin. When they reopened, they scan you once, and then once you're scanned, you're good to rip the whole mountain. I know that's a lot harder for places like Breckenridge, but I know in Virginia, they did that one scanning thing. But Beartooth Basin, Big Snow, all of that was the same. One scan, and then you're not getting scanned again for the rest of the day. You just kind of go about your business. So maybe less scanning, which is never a bad thing. And honestly, I think the last thing that you're going to notice on mountain that's going to be really weird is going to be smaller terrain parks. At least for Vail Resorts, I know Breckenridge already announced that they'll have a park. It'll be smaller than it was years in the past. And obviously that's a big corporation. They're all about finances and making as much money as possible. Less people riding means we don't really need a park and all this stuff. And so parks might be toned down a bit. If you're really worried about your park getting toned down, look into Copper Mountain, because they're doubling down on their park. They literally built like 15 new rails or something. It's insane, and they're really sick rails. But expect when you go to a Vail-owned mountain that the parks are going to be a lot smaller, and that's really sad. But we've already seen Vail like kind of going after their terrain parks and making them smaller and smaller and smaller. So this pandemic's probably the best opportunity for them to make them really small and then keep them small. So we'll probably see that in the future, which is kind of a bummer, but it makes sense. A lot of these ski resorts got hit really hard last year, ending early, and now they're trying to save money going into the next season. Terrain parks cost a lot of money, and they don't make a lot of money. So unless you guys start riding more parks, so ride more parks. Nah, I'm joking. Overall, guys, it's pretty normal going out and ripping. I'm not gonna lie. All these places with all their rules and things, they don't enforce them too much or too bad. And I would once again just encourage, like, if you're scared of COVID and you don't want to get sick and you're all this stuff, like, I wouldn't go skiing. It's a recreational thing. You don't have to do it. I haven't got sick skiing and snowboarding. It is nice that you're super high altitude, and usually it's super sunny out in Colorado and the sun's helping out and everything, the chance, I mean, you're outside. It's not that bad. But for the rules and everything going on, it's not that big of a hindrance. It's not that bad to wear a mask. It's not that bad to get scanned once. I never eat at the ski resorts anyways. So all these things, I think it's going to be a very normal ski season. The reservation thing will be tricky, but the resorts will figure that out. They want you to come snowboard. So if you want to ski, you want to snowboard, they want you to be there, and they're going to do their best to get you there. So just know that, trust the resorts, trust that they're going to figure this out. And before we know it, this whole thing's going to blow by. This video is going to be like a dinosaur video, and people are like, I can't believe that was a thing. But with that, Team Buckhouse, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're ready for this ski season. Comment down below, where are you skiing and snowboarding? What season pass did you buy? Things like that. I got full Icon, full Epic, and the A Basin season pass, so I'll be ripping all around. Also comment down below, should I come where you are snowboarding? That'd be really cool. If you guys want to support any trips this season though, make sure you snag some of the Evolution merch, Evolution hats, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeves, guys, all that's linked in the description. If you do snag any of it, tag me on Instagram and I'll give you guys gear and sticker shout outs. But make sure you follow my Instagram. That's like to date, the most up-to-date like my stories and things that are gonna help you, not help you, but you get to see like behind the scenes more what's going on. Like I post a lot of cool stuff on my Instagram, so make sure you guys give that a follow. And lastly, if you haven't got all your snowboard gear, all of my gear, even my son's gear who's 2 years old and has been ripping through the pandemic, is all linked in the descriptions. If you need to snag any gear and you don't know what to get, you can at least start with the gear that I'm riding this season. And with that, Team Buckhouse, thank you so much for shredding/talking with me today. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep evolving. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'm on top of the ocean, living like life ain't frozen, feeling my feet been chosen for something other than motion, yeah. Mama told me I'ma be somebody. I ain't never gonna need nobody, no, no. I ain't never gonna need nobody.
So there's this huge green wall. You know what that means? Here's a green screen. Do something. Who can do something cool with this? Oh, I'm in space. Can someone put me in space?